Hey guys, welcome to StudyIQ. My name is Prashant Dhawan and in this video we are going to analyze the Yojana magazine February 2018 edition, and this is the cover of this month's Yojana magazine. The topic of this month's Yojana magazine is Public Grievance Redressal. A lot of interesting articles related to this topic. So the first article is Effective Grievance Redressal, Heart of Good Governance. So over here they are saying that if you want to provide good governance to your people, then public grievance redressal must be the center point of your planning. Alright, so this is the first article that we shall discuss. Then there are two articles on public grievance redressal and private sector providers. We shall analyze this. Then two very important articles right here. One is a special article, E-Governance Grievance Redressal for New India 2022. And the second one is for grievance redressal mechanism for women. As you know, a lot of times women at workplace, not a lot of times, but sometimes women at workplace, they have to face sexual harassment and other difficulties. So where do they go then? How will they be able to report that? Is there a specified mechanism in place for their assistance? So we shall analyze what sort of mechanism do we have in India. Globally, as you know, a lot of countries have taken measures to curb sexual harassment at workplace. Now one thing you guys need to know that in this video I will focus on telling you guys about all the initiatives taken by the government of India for public grievance redressal. This is very important for your preliminary examination, so I hope you guys will be making notes. The second point is that you will not find a plethora of literature on public grievance redressal in this magazine. Basically, even in the mains answer writing, you will be expected to mention all the initiatives taken by the government to tackle public grievance redressal. Of course, we shall discuss why public grievance redressal is important. So this will be the format of the video. Let's start. And if you're preparing for any examination, StudyIQ's pen drive and tablet courses give you the luxury of studying from home. You don't have to go anywhere. You will save a lot of time with our pen drive and tablet courses. So our courses are available for a lot of examinations like SSC, Bank. You can see the list of the examinations for which we provide various courses like SSC, Bank, RBI Grade B, SSC CGL, CHSL, and UPSC courses are available as well. UPSC optional courses are available as well, as you can see here. So various courses are available on StudyIQ.com. Visit this website, check out the demo lectures, see for yourself the kind of quality courses that we provide, and you can purchase the course from StudyIQ.com, and also you can call these numbers for more information. Now some of you guys listening to this video might be wondering, why do we have to talk about public grievance redressal? This doesn't really sound like a very important topic, not a very exciting topic as well. Why can't we talk about defense or science and technology or space exploration? Why not that? Why do we have to talk about public grievance redressal? Well, primarily because it is a priority of the government of India. Let me just tell you something. You guys know that in 2014, this person right here, Modi ji, he became the Prime Minister of our country. And after a very long time, we finally had a Prime Minister in India who wasn't dependent on a coalition government. He had a full majority and he gave a very important speech after winning the 2014 general elections in the parliament. He said his government will work on three important topics. The first one was external security, which includes economy as well. The second one was center-state relations. Of course, GST was going to be part of this, and they have been relatively successful in implementing GST as well. States are on board with GST and everything seems to be working out. The third one was public grievance mechanism. So now perhaps you might be able to understand how important public grievance mechanism in India is, especially its service delivery. Now, you guys all probably have tried to access government services at some point of your life, right? Suppose if you want to sell your house, you will have to get the mutation done, you will have to get the documentation done. At times, you have to get the house freehold, or there are various steps that you have to go through. Now, in order to do that, you have to go to a government office. Perhaps sometimes once in a blue moon, this might happen that you enter a certain officer's chamber and you weren't treated nicely, your work wasn't done. So this can happen. No system is 100% foolproof. Wherever someone is providing services, there will be some grievances, some people will be unsatisfied. So it is very important to listen to the grievances of those unsatisfied people. It is important so that we can improve the system as a whole, and it is important so that the people have faith in the government. So in this video we will basically talk about this. And now, before talking about the first article, let's read the chief editor's desk. So this is the chief editor's desk. This is quite important, and it is basically an introductory note of the entire magazine. So they start off with a very rhetorical question. Do you feel often aggrieved because you have had an inflated electricity bill when you go to the electricity office for a clarification and you are unceremoniously shooed away? Unceremoniously means that you weren't treated nicely, you were uncourteously shooed away. So of course anyone will feel bad. No one will say, oh, I had a great time, I feel very good when people mistreat me. So you are getting an unfair amount of call drops, you don't know whom to complain of or redressal. So at times like these, we need a proper redressal mechanism. No system is perfect. I'm on this paragraph. No system is perfect. There are likely to be shortcomings always. However, if these shortcomings start impacting the basic interest of the public, they have the legitimate claims for the redressal of their grievances. A complaining consumer, a complaining customer can be a good opportunity to show how good you are. That is why public grievance redressal is said to be the cornerstone of any well-governed democracy. So you need to remember this very important point. When a consumer or a customer starts complaining, it isn't the end of the world. Your company isn't finished. Your company's goodwill isn't finished. No. On the contrary, you have been given a golden chance to prove that you listen to your customer and you can solve whatever their problem is, whatever grievance they have. So let's read further. Our constitution does confer various rights on its citizens. You get a lot of rights when you become a citizen of India. But however, the lack of an effective mechanism to deal with everyday grievances. Alright, my PAN card wasn't corrected. There was some information I wanted to correct there. I wasn't able to correct it. The people in the office weren't listening to my complaint, or I wanted to get a ration card, couldn't get it. So all these are everyday grievances, right? We still need an effective mechanism to deal with all of this, even though we have a lot of rights. So that is why the government has focused so much on public grievance redressal. Now let's start reading about all the initiatives taken by the government of India for public grievance redressal. Now interestingly, the concept of a public grievance redressal mechanism, it didn't originate from the US or from the subcontinent or the East Asian countries. Interestingly, the idea was first mooted in the Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Norway and Denmark. In 1809, Sweden first mooted the idea of the office of ombudsman. An ombudsman is basically an officer who takes care of public complaints, public redressals. The Hindi of ombudsman is Lokpal or Lokayukta, as you must have heard. So the Scandinavian and Nordic countries first, they came up with the idea, and after Sweden, Finland followed suit. Finland had its own office of ombudsman in 1990. It took them a while, but they too understood the importance of public grievance redressal. Later on in United Kingdom, they came up with their own version of the ombudsman. The British came up with Parliamentary Commissioner for Administration in 1967. So UK was actually much late in this. And later on, several countries appointed an officer like an ombudsman. Ombudsman, of course, it is a Swedish word, and it stands for an officer appointed by the legislature to handle complaints against administrative and judicial action. So just make sure you remember this. Alright. Now the first article here is effective grievance redressal, heart of good governance. Alright. So in this article, they specifically talk about this important web portal, centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system. This is very, very important. The centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system is an online web enabled system over NIC NET developed by NIC. Most of the government websites are developed by the NIC. For example, even SSC is developed by NIC. in association with the Directorate of Public Grievances and the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, DARPG. This department is quite important. Make sure to mention this in your answer. Now, what exactly is this centralized public monitoring, redress and monitoring system? It has a very long name and it's very useful as well. You see, look, suppose if you believe that you are not getting the services by the government that you should be getting, you were mistreated in some government office, you think that there is something wrong going on there, and you want to complain about that, then the government has actually given you a website where you can go and you can register your complaint, and your complaint will be listened to. And this is actually quite good because this entire web portal, this has a lot of ministries, a lot of state government ministries under it. It can actually do a lot. So under the public grievance mechanism, any citizen of India, you just need to be a citizen of India, can raise their problem, grievance or pleas. It can even be a pleas to the central government and the state government ministries and department. Now, one very basic question can be, who is responsible for this huge public web portal? Well, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, is the supreme head of public grievances, and Jitendra Singh is the Minister of Independent Charge for Grievances, Public Personnel and Pension Department, and Sumita Das Gupta is its Deputy Secretary in charge. So this right here is a cutout of the website of Centralized Public Grievance Redress and Monitoring System. You can see it is under a Digital India initiative, and it is part of the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. So suppose if you are an old retired government officer, which you aren't, you are probably seeking a government job, but let's just assume that you are, and you cannot access your pension or you're not getting your pension, you can lodge a complaint here, and you can clearly see it is written that one platform where you can lodge your grievances for quick redress. Now, does that mean that all of my problems will be solved here? Can I lodge a complaint for anything? My friend stole my bicycle. Should I lodge a complaint here as well? Well, not exactly. You can clearly see issues which are not taken up for redress on this website. So, sub judice cases or any matter concerning to judgment given by court. So all the court cases or any judicial judgment, it will not be taken up for redress here. Personal or family dispute, my brother is not giving me my share of property, you cannot lodge a complaint here. RTI matters, that is in the domain of right to information. Anything that impacts upon territorial integrity of the country or friendly relations with another country, you cannot lodge a complaint. Why are you building stronger ties with Malaysia? That will not be taken up for redress. And finally, suggestions that why don't you do this? Why don't you invest more in infra? Why don't you invest more in defense? So you cannot just lodge a complaint for that as well. So overall, you can see it is a very good mechanism, and it brings together a central government and state government. Now here are some more notes from the magazine regarding centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system. The initial implementation of this system was done in June 2007 and it was established in 2008. So the PG portal accessible at pgportal@gov.in. Alright, here you can access this. It covers all the ministries of Government of India. It is web-based, therefore ministries and departments, they don't really require a separate server, so that saves them from a lot of hassle. Also covers subordinate and attached offices within ministries, further field offices. This is quite important actually. And a reduction and elimination of correspondence time, allows integration of manual complaints with electronic complaints by scanning. So overall it's a very good thing. Now let's talk about Pragathi. Pragathi is an acronym. Pragathi is another initiative by the Government of India for grievance redressal. Make sure to remember the acronym. There is a plethora of acronyms, so it is up to you to remember all of them. So Pragati stands for Proactive Governance and Timely Implementation. What is Pragati? It is a multi-purpose and multimodal grievance redressal platform. It was launched in the year 2015, so it's quite new. Make sure you remember this. It was designed by the Prime Minister's office, so it further increases its importance in your examination. with the assistance of course, NIC. They will always be there. The program was launched by our Prime Minister with a threefold objective: project implementation, project monitoring, and grievance redressal. So this platform basically provides a very good portal for the people to send their grievances, and the Prime Minister directly looks at their grievances. So every Wednesday in the government of India these days, for the time being till this government is in power, every Wednesday is Pragathi Day. So the Prime Minister of India, he sort of looks at all the grievance redressals that are being done, and well, not all of them, there are thousands, but probably just glances at them or something, and then he has a look at the project implementation all over the country. Now suppose you live in some rural area or wherever you live, there is a government project going on there, and you clearly see that the people who are responsible for that project, they are doing a very bad job. Alright, and the quality of work they are doing is very bad. People are being troubled. There are all sort of issues. What you can do is you can use Pragathi and you can launch a complaint here. You can say that taxpayers' money is being wasted. The project implementation is not being done correctly, and this can be a good way for the government to know that the project is being completed or not. And of course, the Prime Minister of India will be monitoring this whole situation, so you can clearly see that your grievances will be heard at the top level. Then project monitoring. So under Pragathi, a lot of projects will be monitored as well, whether they are being completed on time or not. Finally, grievance redressal. Now this is where things get a little complicated, because of course just one guy on one day of a week cannot tackle the problem of grievance redressal, but our Prime Minister tries to do his best through Pragathi, which is a good thing, definitely a good initiative. Now here are some very important notes. Pragathi is basically a 3-tier system. Alright, so we have the Prime Minister's office, then under the Prime Minister's office there are the secretaries of central government. So it's not as if the Prime Minister is sitting every Wednesday is having a look at all the grievances. No. Under the Prime Minister in Pragathi, there are various secretaries of the central government, and they too have to go through all the public grievances. Now, who are these central government secretaries? There are various ministries in the government, as you know, Health Ministry, Defense Ministry. Every ministry has its own secretary. So that secretary, the most powerful bureaucrat of that ministry, has to look at all the public grievances. Then there are the chief secretaries of the state. So over here you can say Pragathi upholds cooperative federalism, as it is a unique platform that brings together secretaries of the government of India and the chief secretaries of state into one single platform, and it is in line with the government's agenda of minimum government, maximum governance, and it is an innovative project promoting e-governance and good governance. Pragathi would make governance more effective, efficient, and responsive. Now, one thing I would like to tell you guys is that when we say minimum government and maximum governance, we are saying that there will be less number of government buildings, government offices, government forms, and red tapeism will be reduced to a large extent, but the government influence that remains, it will be quite effective. So it basically, in a nutshell, you can see by Pragathi we can clearly see, if I want to lodge a complaint, I just have to go to the website and launch the complaint. Alright, so there is minimum government in the way. I don't have to go to pillar to post, I don't have to visit any offices, I don't have to write a letter or anything like that. I just have to go to one place, and this is minimum government. Maximum governance is that my grievances shall be heard. Alright, and the action will be taken, so that's a different thing altogether. So just understand the basic concept here. How does Pragathi work to begin with? You see, the system makes use of data from centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system. We just had a very long discussion about that. Alright, so now you understand where does all that data go. Pragathi uses that as well. Then there is data from project monitoring group, Ministry of Statistics and program implementation as well. So all this data is collected, it is presented in front of the Prime Minister, various secretaries of the central government ministries, and of course bureaucrats from the state government as well. So together they try to do their best for public grievance redressal. Now this is a very good MCQ for you guys. You have to answer this. Well, you don't really have to answer this. I will give you the answer, but just pause the video and attempt it in the comment box below or in your head or wherever you want to. So let me read it out. E-Nivaran portal has been launched by the government department for online redressal of taxpayers. So we have to answer which government department has recently launched E-Nivaran. We are told that it is launched for taxpayers grievances. So definitely we can say that it is probably not Department of Science and Technology. It is certainly not the Reserve Bank of India. It is not Central Board of Excise and Customs. It is Central Board of Direct Taxes. So for direct taxes, look, when people pay direct taxes, who pays direct taxes? People who earn, right? They directly pay their taxes. They have to file their income tax returns. Suppose if you guys are earning and you have, you have to pay the government some taxes, you will file a return. And if there are some, disputes, or if you have any grievances that the department of the Central Board of Direct Taxes isn't really listening to your complaints, or there are some issues, then definitely you can use E-Nivaran and your grievances shall be heard. So the Central Board of Direct Taxes has launched E-Nivaran. It is electronic resolution. It means E-Nivaran basically means electronic resolution. It is a portal for online redressal of taxpayers' grievances related to funds, ITRs, PANs, etc. as part of its initiative to reduce instances of harassment to the public when it comes to complaints related to IT department. The taxpayers can register their complaints through their personal computer system. So it is a very good thing, and just remember, it is E-Nivaran. So we just learned about E-Nivaran for direct taxes. Then we have Nivaran. Nivaran is for railways. Alright, it is basically for former railway employees and the current railway employees. It is basically a system devised to improve the service of railways. So you need to remember this. This is something that you will have to remember. When the question is about E-Nivaran, they are basically talking about direct taxes. When the question is only about Nivaran, they are talking about railways. Now at the end of the article, there are also some small boxes of information. They aren't really related to the theme of the magazine or the article that we just discussed, but since they are mentioned there, I have to talk about it. And it is useful information. It can be used in any examination. So recently the first PIO Parliamentary Conference was held in New Delhi. By PIO, I mean the first ever Persons of Indian Origin Parliamentary Conference was held in Pravasi Bharatiya Kendra in New Delhi on the occasion of Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Now, the PIO Parliamentary Conference was organized by the Ministry of External Affairs to forge stronger ties with PIO, alright, persons of Indian origin. So, there are a lot of persons of Indian origin all over the world. They are sitting in very influential positions. Some are members of parliament, some are mayors, some of them are very important bureaucrats in respective countries. So it's not as if now they will stop being loyal to their own country, but they just want to have better ties with India, and of course we have an desire to increase ties with them as well. So this is the whole objective of this conference, and the first conference was recently held in New Delhi. You need to remember that. So 124 member of parliaments of Indian origin, they came to this conference. Then 17 mayors from 23 countries, including UK, USA, South Africa, Canada, Fiji, Kenya, Mauritius, New Zealand, Sri Lanka. And the biggest delegation was surprisingly from Guyana. 20 members of parliament and 3 mayors of Indian origin were from Guyana. Now, what do I mean by person of Indian origin to begin with? Well, a person is deemed to be Indian origin if she is a foreign citizen other than Pakistan or Bangladesh, alright, because a lot of people have migrated over here, so we don't really count them, and had held an Indian passport anytime. He may be either a person whose parents or grandparents were citizens of India by virtue of the Constitution of India or the Citizenship Act 1955. He may also be a person who is a spouse married to an Indian citizen or of a PIO. So other than that, of course, Pakistan and Bangladesh. So this is the criteria. All these people gathered. They had a good time. We have to remember the first conference was held in New Delhi. Now let's read this very important article, the special article, E-Governance, Grievance Redress for New India 2022. So in the New India that we shall witness in 2022 according to the Government of India, we will have to make sure that public grievance redressal is very easy there. Alright, so this is the government's idea, and e-governance will play a very important part in that. So we shall know about all the important initiatives that the government will take. Some of the initiatives we have already discussed. For example, even in this article they have talked about the centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system. This information is being repeated, so we are not going to learn about it all over again. I will tell you all the important initiatives the Government of India has taken that this article tells us of. First of all, let's talk about Sevottam Service Delivery Excellence Model. What is Sevottam? The word Sevottam, to begin with, is a combination of two Hindi words, Seva and Uttam. Seva means service, Uttam means excellent. So excellent service. It means service excellence, emphasizing the idea of service. It symbolizes the change in mindset within the government from the administration and control to service and enablement. Okay, basically Sevottam is a certificate. All the government companies, they will get Sevottam certificate if they keep their customers, their consumers happy, and if they make sure all the public grievances are taken care of. So they will get Sevottam service, and it is a good thing. It is a good initiative by the government. Now there are some important components of Sevottam. First of all, Citizens Charter and Service Standards. Citizen Charter is the document where a public sector organization declares its key services along with delivery timelines and requirements. So all the timelines will be declared early. Alright. Then the public grievances, the receipt, the redressal and prevention of grievances. Now, service delivery enablers. This includes customer feedback, employee motivation and infrastructure. So all these things are part of Sevottam. I have also mentioned these things in detail here as well. So this is how Sevottam basically works. Sevottam framework. So it is basically a self-assessment format, and companies can know whether the customers are happy or sad, and if they aren't happy, what they have to do, what are the gaps they have to fill, and what sort of feedback will they give. So it is a very important framework, and it is good. It is a good initiative by the government to make sure that the public sector companies know the value of keeping their customers happy. Now after the Sevottam framework, the article talks about UMANG. What is UMANG? Another acronym that you have to remember. Unified Mobile Application for New Age Governance. So by reading the acronym, you can clearly see it is a unified mobile application. It is a mobile application that is trying to make e-governance easier. How? As you know, the government has launched a plethora of services. There are a lot of apps right now on the Google Play Store and all the Apple. I don't know where they get their apps from. I'm not that rich. So, you know, there are a lot of apps right now, and the government has tried to make sure that people get a lot of services. Umang is basically an initiative by the government so that all the apps are under one platform. So people can access all those apps, all the government services on just one single app. It is developed by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and National E-Governance Division to drive mobile governance in India, or mobile governance in India if you want to use the accent. So there are some points that we should also talk about. Umang provides seamless integration with popular customer-centric services like Aadhaar and DigiLocker. Then the second point is that it provides unified approach where you can install one application to avail multiple government services. So it is very good for the citizen. And third is Umang can be accessed on multiple channels like mobile application, web, IVR, SMS, which can be accessed through smartphones, feature phones, and tables and desktop. Umang has a rich multimedia interface with a focus on maximizing usability and enriching user experience. So this is very good as well. We are trying to minimize grievances here. Alright. This is not for grievance redressal. This is for grievance minimization. Finally, Umang also supports 12 Indian languages in addition to English. So this is what the Umang app looks like, and it's a good thing. Try downloading it, use it, see what happens. And then there is bringing information to the citizens, RTI. They have also talked about RTI. Right to information is part of the fundamental rights under Article 19(1) of the Indian Constitution, and the Article 19 says that every citizen has the freedom of speech and expression. As early as 1976, the Supreme Court said in the case of Raj Narayan versus State of UP that people cannot speak or express themselves unless they know. That is why information is important, and this is a very important tool for public grievance redressal as well. Because suppose if you want to get some work done in some government department and your file is just stuck in the process, or you just aren't really getting the results that you want, then you can also file RTI and you can ask, why isn't my file done yet? Which officer is sitting on it? Why isn't done yet? So it's not as if the process will suddenly become quick, but at least the government department will become answerable and they have to write a certain answer, and if they don't, they will be penalized. So this is the advantage of RTI, and you need to remember these two important points. Right to Information Act has been implemented by the Government of India to provide a right to its citizens to ask the relevant questions to the government and various public utility service providers in a practical manner. It was done to replace the earlier Freedom of Information Act 2002. Then later on, a very important article talks about the key highlights of the Consumer Protection Bill 2018. The bill has not passed as of February 2018. It is still tabled in the parliament. So I think it will take a few months before it is passed. If you are watching this video after a few months, just make sure to check whether the bill has been passed or not. So the much awaited bill and much awaited and touted bill, Consumer Protection Bill 2018, was introduced in the Lok Sabha by Shri Ram Vilas Paswan. Now Paswan ji is the Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. So this bill was tabled in the Lok Sabha on 5th of January 2018, and it is yet to pass in the Lok Sabha. Later on it will pass in the Rajya Sabha as well. The bill provides for the establishment of an executive agency to be known as Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA. So this is the idea, to make a big agency, a big authority, so that all the public grievances problems can be heard through that. So this will be done to promote and protect and enforce the rights of the consumers, make interventions when necessary to prevent consumer detriment arising from unfair trade practices, and to initiate class action including enforcing recall, refund and return of products. So whenever this authority comes into existence, it certainly will be a huge advantage for the consumer. After that, let's talk about section 35 of that bill that is yet to pass in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Now section 35 of that bill talks about how we can make the complaint process of the consumer much more easy, because most of the consumers will be filing their complaints electronically in the new India, the quote-unquote new India in 2022. So we definitely want that process to be simplified. So for that, we need to make sure that the system and the whole procedure is as such that he is not troubled all that much. He doesn't really need to require, he doesn't really need to upload all the documents that don't really have anything to do with the whole case. So the process should be made much more easier for him, and this is what section 35 of that bill talks about. Now let's talk about some of the few shortcomings of the Consumer Protection Act 1986. This has been in existence for decades now, and now some things will be changed in this act. First of all, the problem is that the disposal of cases has not been fast due to various constraints. Several shortcomings have been noticed while administering the various provisions of the said Act. Secondly, consumer markets for goods and services have undergone drastic transformation since the enactment of the Consumer Protection Act 1986. The modern marketplace contains a plethora of products and services. Now let's talk about grievance redressal mechanism for women. Women all over the world unfortunately have to suffer, sometimes they have to suffer from sexual harassment at workplace, and it is a very bad thing. In USA we recently saw the Me Too movement. It was a huge movement on social media where a lot of women, they came out and they revealed that they were sexually harassed at workplace. So it was a big thing in the developed world. In India we still have a lot to do. According to the Honorable Supreme Court of India, the definition of sexual harassment is as such: physical contact and advances, demand or request for sexual favors, any other unwelcome physical or verbal or non-verbal conduct of a sexual nature. So in 2015 the government came up with Sakhi. Sakhi is basically for women who suffer from violence of any kind. Suppose a woman has suffered a very traumatic incident, and so there will be a lot of Sakhi centers, and she will get police assistance there, medical, legal aid, management case, psychological counseling, and temporary support services will be available there as well. And a lot of Sakhi centers are being built all over India. Then there is this very important thing that you should know about look, the government has done this about sexual harassment. The Ministry of Women and Child Development, they have come up with XIBox. It is an online complaint management system. So if a woman is facing sexual harassment at workplace, she can go to XIBox. She just has to probably Google XIBox and Ministry of Women and Child Development, and there is a very easy process here. She can just register her complaint, and she can also view what is the status of that complaint, and all the procedure will be quite quick, and the government will probably take special care of this this incident. So the idea is basically to make sure that women feel safe and they feel empowered and protected. So this is the end of the video. All the important points have been covered, and I hope you enjoyed the review. And this video will definitely be quite helpful in your preliminary examinations. And thanks for watching. God bless you all.